from Fear and Loathing, because it's like a fucked up scene. We went to like watch the circus act they had, and it was like the crowd was just like the most cracked out crowd, and all of the gymnastics people were just like straight out of Romania.
Okay.
It was like
The
riddled
circus
in
is the first
cliche.
place I ever went to in Vegas when I was like 8 years old.
Dude, it's not nearly. I mean, I went to Reno. I have my wallet and my like my mama's boxes of crap that she's kept over the years, and I was like 2 years old, and I went there and got this wallet. And yeah, ever since like we canceled SeaWorld and whatever, it's like not super cool to have like live animals in your show. So now you just get like teenagers who are Romanian that reek of cigarettes and alcohol doing their like set. And just like people like eating their food in the stands and then just throwing their trash on the ground as if like
Oh man, this sounds so awesome, dude. This is all I want.
I know, but like that's the thing though, is like the whole staff there is like trained, and not to mention everything's like coated in vinyl. It's designed to get hosed down every day.
Well, yeah,
But it like blows your mind just because you're like, there's a trash can every 3 feet, but like people just like took their whole subway and were just like being like really fucked about it too. Like not even like, oh, it's okay to do that here because everyone's doing it, but people are like, God, this sandwich fucking sucks, and just like threw it down on the ground, and I was like, whoa, welcome to fucking Vegas.
dude, I'm here for that kind of experience,
I walked around with my packs, just like going like bonkers, just having the time of my life observing people. We were not even in the main hotel. We stayed at what they call Motor Manor, and it's just basically the yeah, right? No, I mean, I know what I was in for. I got like a coupon. I got Priceline Negotiator to take care of it.
I got the old Priceline negotiator.
And Trivagoed it or whatever Molly told me to do at the time. It's funny how all that stuff's actually what she's like. Oh, it's great. Fucking how many times I had to like walk by and like I had these two dudes who were leaving their hotel room that I like couldn't help but like just like peek in, because I noticed they came out of their room holding one dude by like the shoulders like Congo style, but they were just like the dirtiest motherfuckers, and they were tweaking so hard that I was like, fuck. And I looked in and like the room was just like disaster piece, and I was like, holy shit. It's like if Norman Rockwell just huffed all the paint and then went at it.
God, you're such a good travel agent, bro.
Yeah. We went back too, and we stayed in like the same Motor Manor, and Molly was like, it's only half as fun this time. The first time it was really fun. This second time she's like, okay, it's starting to wear off. We should probably like, when we go with our friends, we should stay somewhere like not shitty.
Not fucking just shitty.
I was inviting you guys the other year. I was like, we should do it, and then this thing called COVID hit.
Yeah, it was a real bitch. I'm still down though. Let's fucking go to Vegas.
It's funny how as time goes on, due to COVID, you guys get progressively more interested. You're like, fuck, I'll go anywhere. Where are we going?
Oh no, I just like my desire to be trash has never been higher. Like.
Yeah.
I want to go camp around in the desert.
I'm gonna go stay in a fucking hotel. like a civilized goddamn human being.
We'll sneak into Area 51 from the backside.
I've seen the videos. It's harder. It's easier said than done, dude. Dude, those people ran pretty fast. They had their hands back in the proper formation, but
I still run like that, like all the time. Like, I was running like that as soon as I watched Naruto. I didn't know it became like a meme until the Air Force thing. And I still consistently embarrass Molly, like at the mall or anywhere where I get to like.
So many kids in high school in LA that did that.
Oh yeah, no, those are the kids that are gonna bring a gun to school right there.
No, we're a little past that. People are realizing those kids have potential to do something because they'll just put them in a lab or put them in STEM programs.
Get them to join the military.
I don't know who the school shooter crowd is anymore, to be honest. Like, I don't know who people worry about. I would worry about kids who worship Logan Paul. because they realized that they
were like all of the current high school generation.
Yeah, I mean, Molly's cousin, her daughter is 16 this year, and I had to like break the news to Molly. I was like, yeah, she looks like she bullies people. Like, look at her friends. And Molly's like, And then like they had like a homecoming recently, and they live in like Michigan, you know, just outside of Grand Rapids, and so they like went to some country club, and like the dudes were wearing blazers, but they were wearing they're wearing like the Death Row Records portrait ensemble, so they're all wearing like black turtlenecks and gold chains. And Parker, I don't know if you were aware of this photo, but who's in it? It's like Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and who else? Is it Tupac? Like, I think it's like all the West Coast people. It's like a pretty famous portrait. But I was just like, wow, we've come such a long way where you can like God bless and like go to the country club dressing like this, and it's not considered like ultra trashy. Like, I'm sure they'll go back and be like, wow, remember when everyone was wearing those big gold chains pretending they were like from the hood when they were from fucking Grand Rapids, Michigan?
Those the days, man.
I know. I mean, we had Crank That Soldier Boy, so I'm not.
What? That's a shame.
That's a shame, dude.
I always thought it was odd when these girls were like doing the choker thing again. I realized they were all like on OnlyFans.
I mean,
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of like a tall tale sign too. That's like the one thing that I told Molly too, and I was like, half her friends probably have OnlyFans and lie about being 18, you know?
God bless America.
Yeah, our dad's like trying to protest Thanksgiving because we have too many like trans and gay people in the family now, and he wants to quote shelter his daughters from that, or he doesn't want to expose them to those types of things. And I was like, bitch, this girl is on Instagram and has a fucking, I didn't know Visco had social media, but apparently it does. And I was like, there's a lot of, your kids have fucking TikTok, like, game over. Like, you don't need to fucking worry about sheltering them from shit because they're already spoiled.
Like, see, here, sir, what you don't understand is your daughter's a hoe.
Well, I mean, she does all these photos of her, like, with her boyfriend, but they, like, will take these photos, like, clothed, but, like, in bed in the bathroom together, and he's, like, claiming the moral high ground on everything. And I was like, why is your daughter taking photos with this dude in the bed? You know what happens?
Let me break it down for you. She's a hoe.
I know. Well, I already called it out. I said she got her braces taken off, 16.
Oh, shit.
I know. I was like, you're fucking in trouble. And Molly's like, And then I saw the photos that she was posting with their friends, and I was like, I hate to tell you something, but she might be a hoe.
I hate to tell you this. Whoever threw that
I had to
paper,
pull out my fucking Ghostbuster, like, you know, meter to, like, prove my point almost. I don't relish in this. I just, like, it's just sad state of affairs. I mean, I never forgot this drawing the guy who did the Black Flag logo did. He did this picture of all these men crying in this like dark silhouetted room, and it's like a illustration where it's just they're all sobbing into their hands and like crying at the sky, and it's called the caption of the image is "Fathers of Daughters," and I always thought like, woof, it's not easy being a dad.
It's not easy.
My mom obviously had 2 boys, and I was like, well, that's a different set of issues, you know.
Yeah, we're just out there raping your churches and burning your women, you know.
My parents tried asking me in middle school if I was having sex, and I said I played Diablo 2 with my friends. And then they like figured it out like pretty quick. They were like,
my
They were
God.
like asking. They were asking like asking like some popular kids' parents like what their kids were doing to get into trouble, and then my mom was like, "Well, Nick spends too much playing this game Diablo 2. Is anyone else struggling with this?" And like all the cool kids'
No, your
parents were like,
kid's a
"No."
fucking
Yeah, they were like, "No." Then like all like the Boy Scout parents are like, "That's all they want to do, really." And yeah, I guess we don't have to worry about them. Yeah, maybe I should use that line at Thanksgiving. Brian does show up and he goes off. I'm like, "Hey, I hate to break it to you. Daughter's a hoe."
hate to break it to you. Your daughter's a hoe. It's like giving like a nice pat in the shoulder. Hate to break it to you, bud. Daughter's a hoe. What?
What a great conversation if it's like, "Well, you're gay, but like, well, your daughter's a hoe." That's like, and that's what kills me is I'm like, how many months have we been built up? And I'm like, oh wait,
Sorry.
there's probably going to be like that level of drama, and I'm just like, all right, well, that's fucking stupid, but I guess that's what you expect from people who've been on Facebook for 18 months claiming that they can say whatever they want. I'm gonna be normal as shit. I always worry about looking like the miscreant, you know? And then apparently I'm fucking straight laced according to everyone else.
Come on now. Go, go.
Her parents called us, Molly's parents called us the other day, and they were like, "Yeah, we're just on a long drive to our vacation spot." And in my head, I was like, "Where are they going again?" And then I was like, "Oh wait, I remember, but I think I'm getting the name wrong still. Is there a place in Florida called Panama City?"
I think so.
Panama.
And I was like, "Oh man, I wonder what that's like." Because when we went to Destin, Florida, with them, that was a trip. I remember in the car just being like enamored with like the community, and someone was like, "What are you looking at?" And I was like, "They have more Waffle House than dispensaries where I'm from." Which is like, a tall order. Fucking dude.
Speaking of Panama City, my uncle lives in Panama City, Panama.
See, that's what I was like in my head. I was like, when they said Panama City, I was like, so Panama.
He's got a crazy life. He just got like sick of Idaho,
Oh boy.
getting out of college, and moved to Manhattan, and got into the finance world,
Stole a shit ton of money and fled to Panama.
doing kind of the crazy stocks and shit. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So now he lives in Panama with his best bud.
Yeah,
and
no.
they just fuck around.
Are they like gay? Is that what you mean by best bud?
No, it's his business partner.
No, it's his business partner. They're roommates.
I don't think they're actually roommates. But
Come on,
Just good old friends. Yeah, I had a friend whose grandpa, who's older than shit, bought a bunch of stock in Xerox back in the day.
Copy that.
And then, yeah, it's been chilling pretty hard on that for a while.
That's Xerox money.
sweet. I'm starting to think I need to get into more real estate. Just kind of waiting for the market to settle before I do.
Good luck. It's like the 90s where they still had like cheap shit and like $20 was something people were like, I'm not gonna spend $20 on lunch.
Jesus Christ, what are you, fucking Bill Gates?
I'm gonna give it another
Yeah.
year or two, and then start buying the properties to rent.
You know, I, as someone who's trying to buy their first home, have been looking into this like conversation of when this will quote smooth out. And unfortunately, there's some nuances to anything that you could like predict from traditional markets.
I'm not waiting on
the thing that
crash,
jarred
I'm
me
just
the
waiting on it
most,
to not be growing
right?
exponentially.
And what I don't get, and I can't figure it out, and this is my armchair analysis, so don't think I'm not open to criticism here, is that when I was reading that when Zillow has enough hits, like enough interest expressed in a certain zip code, they'll start using this algorithm to suggest what homes that Zillow should buy and take off the market. And it blew me away that this computer was coming up with like very, very well like established information to be like, oh yeah, you should probably buy all these homes up. And that's what we've seen, like all these homes in St. John. Well, and we don't get it because like the algorithm might, like someone who's doing cocaine's like, this is the sweetest thing ever. I go into work, I pull up the thing, and the AI tells me what to buy. We have like $1 squillion, and like even if they shit the bed, I anticipate that the like expense of buying the home is in their favor for like, you know, I'm just gonna say tax purposes because I'm high, but it's like, okay, so you bought this home like in our neighborhood. This has been happening all the time.
What would Zillow
Where
do with the home when they bought it? I haven't heard about any kind of.
So that's what everyone's sitting on, because that's what these local realtors are like are pissing and moaning on these various like blogs and like social media that I poke around on. Is you got all these like, you know, you got the guy who's like, my name's Dennis, I played football for the local high school, and you bet your ass that everyone loves me because I bring that up when I sell homes because I'm quote so from the area, right? Dudes like that have been selling real estate like forever. It's just like such an easy career path when you have a nice set of teeth and a strong jawline. But when they've been going out in the market dealing with like especially first-time buyers, they're not only up against these like, you know, real estate investment companies, but like Zillow is now like stepping up and is just buying up swaths of homes just based off of like the expectation that the homes will either be flipped because it's like a great way to like grow soft dollar, you know, buy a home, sell it in 5 years, whatever, flip it. But the big conspiracy is that they're going to get into renting, and they're going to start making it so that, you know, like we pay $1,400 for rent here, which is like, you know, close to what my parents pay a mortgage in Southwest Washington. And that always
happens. That would be the largest property management company in existence if it does. But I haven't heard anything about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, look into it, because it's like how fucking Amazon used to sell books, and then they decided to like take a big swing at Walmart, you know what I mean? And it's like, now that guy sends himself into space. I haven't heard anyone in the Walmart family going to space B, but that's all I'm saying, is that I don't know if they're gonna get into renting, and that's the point, is like, you know, you got a bunch of student loan debt generation based millennials and whatnot who are like, you know, on paycheck to paycheck, and they go, great, then you won't even miss out on a mortgage because you don't even know what you're doing. So we'll just rent to you at mortgage prices.
Won't mend your leg, but it will make it hurt less.
Thanks. Our undying gratitude that gets
Conspiracy, sure,
Gratitude of a dying man in my case.
but
Enjoy it while it lasts.
shut it and show me that.
so that when Molly was like reading these articles too, she's like, we need to stop using Zillow. We need to stop looking up New York. We need to get a real realtor. And I said, or we just get a built-up
Well,
supercomputer.
It can't be too widespread.
Yeah, that's easier,
I mean, it's
man.
simply not feasible financially.
That's what they want you to think.
Dude, this is
Yeah,
just like
okay.
when I said Amazon used to sell books, and now they're like sending things into space, and you're playing their video games. So, best
he
you
got you
believe.
there.
Amazon. Okay, that's debatable.
Okay, let's
whether they're being successful
let's
with
easy
space
up
shit.
here. Like, come.
Oh, I'm not willing to like write off anyone at this
I'm waiting
point.
for like the James Bond satellite, like Amazon to launch. Like and now we have a space laser.
Amazon's space ventures are a joke.
Well,
I
I mean, John
But,
Carmack
but
told
they,
me
but
that.
they have space ventures, you know.
It's
That's the
true.
point.
They have space ventures, but yeah.
John
don't have
Carmack
space
talked about
ventures.
this on Joe Rogan, and when he was asked about their program, like, hey, what do you think? He's like, I think whenever you have a blank check, you're never going to be optimized to the intent that like you're gonna get the job done. You're just gonna always be able to like fuck off in development hell forever.
Yep. Yep, pretty much.
There's no incentive, no taste of blood. It's just like a bunch of spoiled cunts with like a billionaire's money, and everything's pretty much just like a tax excuse.
That's the problem with a lot of large companies, is a lot of their endeavors become blank checks that just futz around on shit.
Expensive to pay taxes.
Fuck it, just get a job being the guy that gets paid to fuck around and waste
Yeah,
money. That's
pretty
the.
much. I see it with my current employer. Everyone's just starting to fuck around and get anywhere.
That's why I always anticipate the next global conflict is like, it's either full Metal Gear Solid mode, like, oh, it's going to be the best investment for the global economy because we're going to privatize all these other, shadow military, Metal Gear Solid, 20-hour game cutscenes. Or everyone's going to be like, fuck, can we really afford this war? Like,
I'm down to join up for a good war though. Fuck it.
well, I think that's like what's auspicious is that like you can't necessarily like guarantee there won't be World War III, but
Only hope.
but there's also this like overwhelming like corporations are more likely to win out in a cyberpunk sense, just because of how many like invested interests there are that go above government. That's what blows my mind is how fast like we're back to like fucking like Rockefeller sounds like a joke now.
Greetings. You're in luck. Yesterday, Alf Raptus's longship sailed into port, so we've got.
I don't get what's going on with like logistics too, just on global economy terms. I saw some guy was like a crane operator, and he's like, yeah, all the trucks are run by computers, like semis that are literally like driverless, moving
Yeah,
containers all day.
Nobody's
He's
been
like,
able to catch up.
Watch Dogs, I know all about
Everybody's
this.
getting overwhelmed with how much they're expected to handle after that backup.
Yeah, I saw like a lot of like glass bottle goods are gonna be going up, and like other nuanced shit, like the fact that everyone likes their shit so cheap, so they order it overseas, and now all of a sudden it's like more expensive than domestic. But not saying that's gonna like shift the economy back overseas, but it is kind of funny how much people were like, fuck, this was supposed to like save us a shit ton of money. Now it's like
He's a plowing beast from the
doing the opposite.
Split his ribcage. A strong one, this spirit.
Molly got hit up by someone in school today too. Like, well, she was conversing with them on social media, and they're like one of the better examples of students who graduated in her class who like make a living through their photography.
I solve problems.
And they were talking today about NFTs.
Non-fuckable tokens.
Yeah. And it's like, it's to be seen like when Molly and I like,
Sure about that?
or more Molly, not Molly and I, but I guess I throw myself in there because it's like a thing that would affect both of us. But like, it's not a question of if anymore, it's a question of when. And we're definitely like hesitant at being early adopters to anything we don't fully understand. But
You're gonna
that
buy an
also-
You
NFT.
said the creature wants.
no,
revenge.
Molly's works like
Why?
that's like there's a bunch of people who are buying like nyan cats and are like fucking screwing people over just to like launder Bitcoin. Like that's fine, but like there's lots of artists who are using it as like a means to like sell their work when it can't be printed. It's a lot of like digital graphic artists, animators, Molly's GIFs, cinemagraphs, things like that.
I've heard enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's like as long as you don't completely bank on it, because it's eventually gonna be. Like,
Well, and that
fall
was like
out,
that's
but,
always
like,
the question is like why, what
But, get
effort,
but you might as well get the paper while it's there. Like shit.
right? And that's when like enough people that
That
she's
eggs in
watched
one
do it.
basket shit, but yeah.
Right. Well, I already told her like 70-30. Like there's like 70% of our energy has to go into these other things that need to get done, but then like definitely don't get caught sleeping being behind the trends. And it's weird because like basically we're the person she's talking with is like super successful and established, and they're like, yeah, my agency's walking me through the NFT thing like right now, and like I'll totally share anything with you that like works or doesn't work, because like it doesn't like necessarily cost a lot of money to get into. You just need to like know how to market your NFT. Oh, and your art has to be good. I remember that was like the big problem when they first came out, is that like people were selling like fucking like
Well, how long you gonna make
dumb
me wait?
shit and allegedly making money off it. But I don't know, feels like Bitcoin all over again. Like one of them's gonna stick. I remember when you guys were buying Dogecoin.
I never bought a
Not
single
because I
coin
thought
in
it
my
was
life.
gonna stick, just because it's blown up.
Sure. I mean, at one point you were like,
There's-
you can't
there's
go
not gonna
around
be-
throwing
there's
a
not
couple
gonna be
$100
crypto
at
that
it.
sticks around until they solve the problems.
Did
They
you
haven't
see
done that yet.
Steam recently blocked like NFT games, like games that are used to like make money somehow, like mining them
Yeah,
or like
blockchain mining games.
yeah. I was just
Well,
like,
it's just mining. They block any mining application. It's probably just they haven't caught on to the NFT mining yet until whenever you say you saw this. But
No,
this
not
was
a
like
big
a
thing.
couple months ago, or like at most a
Kinda
couple
trained
months
the
ago, there
farmer.
was like a big ban, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about. Like,
It's
But it's like-
it's games that are just taking advantage of the excess resources the computer has.
it sounds like
Using
a
in the
virus.
background. Well, yeah, it is.
Well, there's some games that just close it and some games that don't. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like the ones that don't, yes. There's some where it's like
It's an abusive.
you make money for them, but you get in-game currency in the game to like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah,
I
it's
saw a kid on the Portland Reddit who said he just graduated PSU last year, and he said that the solution to helping homeless people earn income was to give them smartphones and 5G like data plans so they could play these Bitcoin games to make money. And I couldn't imagine like a more like, I'm a Zoomer and I've been raised on iPads, and I think I just figured out how to solve the homeless crisis. It was just the dumbest thing I've ever read, to be honest. And I was like, A, I didn't know these games existed, so I guess thanks for enlightening me. And then B, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But who knows? I'll let you know when Molly does it, just because, like, I don't know anyone else in our fucking little world that's, like, gonna do it at a level that isn't, like,
I
you
mean,
know.
it's probably going to be around for a bit. That's for sure.
That's kind of the consensus. But I'm only medium sketchy. Like, I sold weed with Brendan. I'm not, like, actually sketchy. So it's, like, it's very interesting that when Molly's like, hey, what do you know about this? And I was like, I don't know, hentai, sketchy GIFs? Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, I mean, like, for artists. And it's like, oh, right. It's everything I see
just
on
gotta
the
make
internet.
that parody NFT I was talking about. It just says NFTs are stupid. Sell it for $1 million, so then I can retire.
Right. And then people are already like claiming to do that, even though like 90% of the stories that you see, actually I'd say 99, I'll be really bold, of people being like, yeah, this just sold for like, you know, 1 million Bitcoin. They don't actually sell them, and no one gets paid. It's just like this weird clickbait that like,
Yeah, no,
People
that's
get
the
away with
thing. You
posting.
can value it at anything, but you can,
Right. And I can't believe how naive I was, because I was like, whoa, it seems like there's like a lot of things being thrown around. And then by the time I like took a back seat, none of the sales were actually authentic. None of them were happening. It was just like a fucking classic way of like pulling a Kramer, sneaking into like a business and going like at the water cooler, like, hey, do you hear the stock's blowing up? And people are just like, fear of missing out kicks in, and people are like, well, I need to fucking like go buy Bitcoin so I can buy NFTs. And then all of a sudden Bitcoin goes up. I mean, you guys remember when
It's purely
Bitcoin was worth
speculation.
fuck
We're not gonna
all,
solve
right?
any of that shit is. None of
But
it-
you
none of
remember when it
has
was
inherent
worth-
value.
Sure. I know these kids with their communist Bitcoin manifestos, but like I remember this kid on the internet, like maybe in the last year, fuzzy memory, was posting like a poster from like this Halo fucking like 4 tournament where like the first place was like $100, second place was like $50, third place was $25, and then like fourth place was
was like, oh yeah,
honorable
like
mention.
25 bitcoins or something.
Yeah,
Stupid.
like Bitcoin, or like yeah, like a number that you look at and you're like, if it's like an over 1 Bitcoin, which
Yeah. In the course of this conversation has been worth 7 different things, but
exactly. And I just couldn't like imagine being that person who's like, yeah, I was fucking dumb in college, stoned, poor, and thought, well, if I can't have like $1,000 I'm gonna have 1,000 Bitcoins, and like imagine
everybody
someone
called him
who
a
has that.
fucking idiot, and now he's like,
Yeah. One day he like was doing his same shitty job at fucking Foot Locker, and then someone came in and was like, yo, you ever heard of Bitcoin? And then like hopefully they took a moment to pause and reflect on their life before everything got different, but then like to take the full course of it and not be the first dude to sell too. That's like another thing, is like the stories you hear of the guys that are like, oh, as soon as it's worth like $100, I like sold to like break even, or I made like $10,000. And then there's the people who are like, holding till now. And I don't know, Bitcoin's worth what, $30,000? What's a Bitcoin?
look it up.
Bitcoin price $63,000.
Yeah.
63,883 in 1 year.
It was like 30,000 a year
It's
ago.
52-week high and low. I have from October 20th, 2020, 11,900. It peaked at 58 before spring, or right at spring. Spent the whole summer going down, and then just like ever since late September, it just climbed from 40 fucking grand to almost 64 grand. And you know what? Conspiracy theory again. I don't know what the fuck's going on here, but I know that 99% of people involved are not successful at it. Or in other words, I'm not going to be surprised when Bitcoin doesn't liberate everyone's like finances like you always see dude bros trying to tell you about it, but like rather it just becomes like another medium for the 1% to be like, oh
No
yeah,
such thing. I mean,
we just
someone's always gonna have the value. Someone's always gonna have the money.
right. What's the name? I don't even remember the name of the person who like invented this. Like
There's,
I've watched many
um,
YouTube documentaries about this
There's
just to
some
like.
online conspiracy theory about that guy or some shit.
Yeah, there
Moto
is.
something.
There always is. Satoshi, something
Yeah.
like that.
Satoshi,
And
yeah,
like,
Satoshi.
yeah, and it's like it's always got like a tinge of 4chan to it. Like I never
Absolutely.
can never truly escaped like I've never been able to have someone who's like explained Bitcoin to me in a way that like a dude that in finance would explain something to you. It's like you don't understand what either of them are saying, but like the one guy at finance from U of O, and he's gonna buy Jesse a Lamborghini. And this is like before the whole like GameStop stock thing or whatever. And I was like, well, what about you? What do you think? He's like, well, I'll never be able to afford one, but I know he will. And he'll be buying me one probably sooner than I'd imagine, just based off of where he's headed. Because his brother's like in a frat and like had internships at like, big investment banks and whatever. And I was just like, wow, what a nice standing agreement between brothers.
Two brothers.
Oh yeah, I know we're just all sitting here watching other people do it though, but I'm too much of a pussy to like go head first in like fucking Idaho uncle over here living in Panama City. I can't imagine how crazy he sounded to everyone in your family. Pulling out like, oh yeah, you'll see.
No, he got involved in. Oh, what do they call it?
Drugs.
Yes, that's so. Can we trying to find a diplomatic way of saying drugs?
Just trying to think of the word for it.
Drugs.
Subprime mortgage loans.
Ponzi scheme.
Shh, hang on.
Hang on. No, it was Ponzi scheme. You were right. No.
Told you it's the reverse funnel
No,
system.
it's the type of loans where you take out a loan to make an investment.
Sounds kind of sketchy.
Yeah, it's super
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
sketch, but it's the kind of things that
My parents
1%
borrowed
are
against
involved
my
in.
dad's my dad borrowed against his 401k to re-roof and repaint our house.
Oof.
But he had to like make payments on it like super quick, otherwise it was like very not helpful. And
what do they fucking call it?
but they sold that house and like immediately refunded it to the point where like no built up interest or whatever was allegedly lost. Again, I don't trust my parents with anything financially.
Leveraging.
It's kind of embarrassing. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Leverage, yeah.
That
Yeah.
does sound risky.
Made a lot
Because I
of
remember
money.
how risky it was.
It is. I mean, it's nothing but gambling. It is.
Let's
Yeah,
see
it's
here.
super fucking risky.
Yeah, I'm not a big risk person. Like, I've always had money in my checking account, and I'm proud to say I've built it up as life's gone on. But like, for a kid with only a 2-year degree, you know, right now, unemployed, I'm just like, fuck. I couldn't imagine being as vulnerable as I am, and then going the distance and being like, okay, I think I'm gonna get into Bitcoin. Like, it's gonna save me. Like, this is the answer to my problem at the moment. I'd rather go full Trailer Park Boys and come up with like some meat stealing operation right before I'd like invest in something I don't get.
There's nothing to get, man. It's a hustle. That's all it
Dude,
is.
fucking Boiler Room and Fight Club and all those would-be 90s movies, I was like, huh, don't be the guy who's crying on the phone. That was like the big takeaway. Never be the guy like, what do you mean all my money is gone? I mean, I remember teasing, it feels like just yesterday, people at Brendan's work who were like really into the game stocks. Those people, like, not the people you work with, but like the people who are like really into that, like, have mental illness. Like,
Paper hands or whatever.
yeah,
tiny
like, we're
hands.
apes, and like,
Oh,
oh, did you see this
fucking-
guy's tweet? Oh, dude, this means it's happening. It's happening.
I
It's all
can't
happening.
stand that shit, dude.
It cringes me out because I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, stop smoking fucking CBD vape pens from China.
Stop smoking those Chinese CBD vapes.
Like, shut the fuck up. Like, you don't. I don't know. It always ends up being like the same people who are basically like without any like immediate control of their future. So they're just like, no, bro, I'm leaning into this. Like, carpe diem. Like, I read a book. I follow an inspirational motivator on TikTok, and he gives
Yes.
tons of great advice.
Dude, you should follow him. He's only 19. He's already made 12 bitcoins from his dad.
Dude, fucking Justin had one. I'm trying to remember his name. It was literally like Vinny something.
Oh, Gary V, bro.
Gary V, yeah. And I was like, what the fuck are you smoking? Like, what kind
That
of...
dude's not even that bad. Like compared, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I know
compared to
he's
the
not
rest of
that bad, but I'm like, what kind of like Xerox Tony Robbins tan fucking spray bullshit are we talking about here? Like, it's always like guys like that are like, yeah, so like, here's the deal. I started out of college, no job, and my dad gave me a small loan of $1 million, and now I'm successful. It's like, oh, fuck me, I guess I wasn't trying. I saw some guy getting roasted on the Reddit because I remember his post so well, because like I grew up doing a lot of RV camping and like trailer camping, and these fucking cunts with their like Dodge 3500 conversion, like van life. It's like keeps reposting every so many months for just like self gratification and karma whoring. But it's like he made the mistake of saying something like, there's a whole life out there for you waiting. Don't sleep on it. You'll regret it later in life. And every single comment was just like, well, damn, if I just had $600,000 to go out and build this van and get a degree in whatever you're doing, yeah, I guess that would be awesome. And I can't remember what he said he did for a living, but it was like digital marketing analytics data manager.
So,
And I
sounds
thought,
fancy.
yeah, and I was like, uh-huh. So when this fan's engine dies, your career will probably be about done too, just given how fast it seems that's going to be obsolete or otherwise. Those people drive me nuts though. They like, and they're like the very like you were making fun of bohemian people, I feel like earlier, or like those like fucking Forever 21 girls. It's the same fucking people. They had like a custom ironworked tree of life installed in their van, and I was just like, oh my god.
Becky, look at her.
Yeah, it kills me. I mean, I'm already on my soapbox, but like I camped enough in my life, like 4 days at a time, 5 days at a time. You know, road trips here and there that may have gone more than a week. But I think, how do you want to live out of a van? Like, it's the fucking worst.
Yeah, that's why like homeless people live in cars and they hate it.
Well, no, I'm like, you know, fucking Chris Farley, you know, scenes aside, wasn't that him? The van in the river, down by the river.
You know, I'm like not. You have to pretend like you know everything about Chris Farley, but like I don't.
No, I don't think it could have been him or it was the other guy. No, it was him. It was him. Just eating and shitting is probably the worst part about it. I'm like, okay, you don't have a toilet and you have a fridge the size of a football. It's the worst.
Well, now the kitchen setup's fancy, but the shitting thing is still a bigger problem.
Well, my parents have a decent fifth wheel, and like, yeah, their fridge is like a mini fridge, like whatever. Like they took all the yacht technology and incorporated it into the RV over the years, thanks to Chinese refrigerators. But
Thanks to Chinese refrigerator.
so you're right. It's not like it's just like a cooler with ice.
But usually, I'm saying at least not the '70s type fucking shit. But still, no, it's still not an ideal living experience.
No, even in a Mercedes Sprinter van, it's like you can deliver a normal refrigerator in one, which is like the whole point of a fucking cargo van, but like not your fucking oak floored tile backsplash, you know. They always throw in those little shitty plants from IKEA too, as if they really live more than a day or two. Try to make it look like, you know, I'm passing off my fake plant as real to you. I see
Passing
through it.
off my fake plant as realty.
It's stupid. But like, yeah, they get enough like weird Indian dudes to follow them on Instagram, and they're convinced they're like an influencer or something. Fucking kids.
Fucking kids, man.
Back.
You were missed.
Sorry I left.
I get this fucking skill calculator.
What now, you piece of...
How's your factory looking, Brendan?
Going all right. I'm sure Parker would hate it. It's not very organized. If he wasn't a bitch, it would be more organized because he'd be on.
BRB.
When are you getting Factorio, Junior? Yeah, you better be right back to buy Factorio.